ですが。Let's play a game together. Oh no. Talking. So I added the thing in the center. I don't know if you guys need it because I feel like you guys might get dizzy. So let me know if you guys can hear the sound. Let me open the chat. I can't see. Konnichiwa. Can you guys hear? Is it okay? Okay. Good. Do you guys think you need the logo in the middle? It might get dizzy, so I had it on. 我聽講呢，YouTube 可以自動整個字幕跟住翻譯㗎，所以如果需要嘅我可以教。OK， 開始啦。呢個其實我係好耐之前見過呢個遊戲啦，但係冇玩過啦，跟住又唔係好記得其實會發生咩事。我哋記得係一個 office 度啦。
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Stanley
worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
需唔需要啊？個 logo 你哋覺得？你哋想拎就可以拎走嘅，順便宣傳一下自己啊嘛。office 啲人冇晒。
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
佢話 door on the left 喎，大家覺得點 ？left 唔 left 好啊你？大家早晨。佢話 door on the left 喎，咁我聽唔聽佢講好？
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
The first open door on his left. 又返返去 left。佢要我入呢度，但係呢度又開住。等陣先，我想入去睇下，佢會唔會閂我門㗎？佢會唔會閂我門點算呢？即入啦。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Hi hi， 係8月天喎。Hello， 佢閂咗我門喎，咁點算啊？等陣先，我啱啱係要去邊㗎？佢係要我去邊㗎？其實我咪要揾老闆嘅，其實係啦。呢個。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
好 sensitive 啊呢個嘢，又係叻。啱啱睇下下邊，只係好 sensitive 咯成個嘢。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
佢把聲佢講有啲串。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
係邊個？我唔通我老婆
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
我屋企有老婆等緊我，原來。等下先，我老婆一定係
That's her, Stanley. You.
Huh?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Huh?
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
點解唔會有一個溫馨嘅屋企人同埋老婆咧？
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
嚇？等先，你好叻啊！等陣先啦。哎呀，我睇下有冇得整翻好先。啊，而家冇得整喎，因為開咗 file 已經。因為我好似啱啱亂撳咗啲嘢，所以個 encoder 可以轉咗，可能因為咁叻地先，點算咧？佢啱啱喺度，佢啱啱話我，你點解會覺得我會有一個點解會覺得有一個好好嘅老婆同埋一個好開心嘅家庭？係咪啲衰咧？
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Hello， 我已經完全變咗一個廣東話嘅 stream。
Look at him there,
同埋好似有啲叻，因為我
doing
亂撳咗
exactly
嘢。
what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button.
我
Now
轉咗個
he's eating
encoder， 所以有
lunch.
少叻。
Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen
呢
this
個係咪
life.
轉咗啊？等陣先。呢個我老婆啊，講埋到尾，好 sad 啊！
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
YouTube 我邊度有 TV？
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
我唔係好留心聽佢講咩，佢係咪話佢意思係咪即係而家話我係幻想緊成件事出嚟，呢個 game 都係一個幻想。
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
我教大聲少少，我又大聲少少，我個咪喺邊？好大聲嗰度，係應該我講嘢大聲啲應該。Tell my wife I love her，但係呢個我 wife，第一係我 wife，好吵啊！喺屋企對住啲 figure，係咪㗎？好吵啊！撳唔到啊！點解我撳唔到啊？等陣，等下先。撳唔到啊！佢唔俾我撳，我重新開始啦。好似唔知整幾耐。喂，你呢個都係假？佢明明啱啱又打電話俾我㗎，佢仲話整咗嘢俾我喺焗爐度。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
唉，你送佢喺間公司度返工，送個巨型嘅老婆 figure。電腦啲嘢，啱啱先冇發現。電腦有啲嘢喎，啱啱冇發現㗎。My wife was like， 哦，啱啱冇嘅。Input receive， 我冇得撳其他嘢。我咪應該部電腦都撳咧，其實。你啱啱好似冇嘅。點解啱啱冇嘅？
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
呢個聽佢講一次啦，啱啱行完假嗰個，發現我老婆係假嘅。啱啱。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Let it ball up inside you. Take it passive aggressively. Where's that other FanArt supporting evil? Use slides to assure employees they're okay. Hey. 好 real 啊呢啲。唉，呢啲公司係假嘅嗰啲 motivational speech 嗰啲。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
So he turned around and got back on track.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
應該有啲嘢，好似啱啱啲電腦咁樣咧，我應該，但我又唔可以跳啊嗰啲。
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there, coming to a staircase. Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
聽佢講，我哋今次聽佢講一次啊！我哋今次睇佢俾翻個威符我。哇！我裝修唔同晒，果然係 boss office。開電腦，電腦冇。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845 2845我哋行く
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845.
哎呀，唔係喎，我唔係特登撳錯嘅呢個。2, 8, 4, 5.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
呢間公司係做咩嘅咧？點解 boss 張台冇電腦嘅咧？有哇！好似呢個唔係恐怖遊戲嚟㗎，開始有啲驚喎。嚇！以前好似睇過冇啲咁嘅嘢，有啲咁嘅嘢咩？有啲驚喎。會唔會下邊做啲咩研究咁樣？好啦，驚喎！會唔會有啲咩病毒啊嗰啲喪屍啊嗰啲？你睇個窗咧落閘喎。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
我去過睇蝙蝠咧，企喺蝙蝠個洞穴出面，跟住然之後佢。某一個時間就係大家一齊出嚟，呢個揾嘢食嗰啲咧。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
屙屎屙尿。Mind Control。走先。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
我信唔信佢好？但係佢話行到去最尾會死，但係我聽住佢講嘢行到嚟咁嘅地方喎。
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
好長啊個開，我唔想跌咗去，好似啱啱咁樣。哦，好驚啊！好驚啊！我以為真係跌落去。大家覺得點？我會唔會死？但係如果重新開始，我行翻嚟有啲，我懶啊。我哋睇一睇啱啱嗰度，我哋睇多次啱啱個 line control。我哋分析一下，去到個位分析一下。 佢啱嗰個高度跌落去，會唔會好似啱啱咁樣死咧？
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
呢個 escape 會唔會寫得太靚呢？即係寫呢個字嘅人應該係都相當驚或者係即係逃走緊嘅情況下先可以寫啩？我諗會唔會？但係呢個字寫得太靚啦，會唔會係假嘅咧？定係我諗多咗咧？你諗下，你走嗰陣時，你留低一個 sign 同人講呢個應該要走，應該逃走，會唔會寫到咁靚？應該唔會，定係佢哋冇諗過，都係我諗多咗。我哋睇一睇呢個。我會行入去，我係行入去被洗腦啊，定係即係成個 office 冇晒人啦？佢哋會唔會好似會覺得好似我咁樣有把聲咁樣叫我係行去呢個地方？你啱啱 boss 都俾一個假老婆洗腦話，即係我有個老婆屋企等緊我返屋企。哦係啊，月亮係啊，呢個我相信我嘅，相信我呢個講法，呢個諗法。去。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
呢個好你有冇睇 Alice in Borderland 啊 ？Netflix 嗰套咧，好似嗰班人咁樣叫咩？佢哋叫咩啊？即係嗰啲遊戲設計者嗰啲。我個 logo 喺中間係咪正常？係啊，我驚你哋暈啊，因為但係因為好似叻叻地，所以其實都唔係好需要。不過我驚你哋暈。其實係咪代表我嘅選擇係正確嘅咧？呢個應該係監視房，所以我應該係咯，監視應該冇事。
Now the monitors jumped to life. Their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
真係冇晒人。係啊，因為咧，我開之前咧唔小心即係校錯咗個 encoder。跟住然之後，而家我教唔返，所以有少叻，或者非常叻。Sorry。接受到，接唔接受到？如果咪再開過。Fire 即係點啊 ？Fire 真係死咗，做嘢做唔可以死咗。我喺邊話427啊？係咪啊？我係冇 fire 嘅。打一個電手機再開翻，定係接
This
受到
mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
即係洗腦有一個好好嘅家庭啦，跟住就係一個好好嘅工作做嘢啦。
He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Destroy the food. 我重新整好啊，再教翻好，等佢冇咁叻，被接受到。Facility power 撳得。1、2、3、4係原因1咧，0142關唔關事？好似0521喎，唔關事應該，撳到嘅。呢個係咩啊？啱啱出嚟嗰度。有5號，又彈返出嚟。有4號啦，有5號，跟住 input 哦，係咪我啱啱個 input 啊？咁即係同事裏面有臥底啦。係咪叫臥？And
when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
呢個 emoji 啊？你個 emoji 想點？誒？哦，喐緊㗎，我睇唔到。
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
我以為佢
Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
佢嗰啲 vocal fry 加埋入去，好聽。咁即係點啊？我真係未解釋喎。 嚇！佢成個 game 完咗，佢自己熄咗。喂翻先。你熄咗？唔得，呢個 ending 有80%個 player 都有呢個 ending。Roman shop 我未聽過，係咩嚟㗎？佢玩完之後自己熄咗，喺呢個 ending 之後。係嘅，喂翻。我聽 Yuri 嘅 Dry Flower 好好聽，我近排成日捋。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
input 嗰個電腦，你而家又唔着咯喎？佢啱啱應該係呢個位噶嘛，係咪啊？啱啱呢個位噶喎，係咪啊？我冇記錯啊嘛。我要撳其他嘢先，咩撳其他？但係呢個又冇咯喎。次序冇咗就冇咗噶啦，好亂啊！呢個應該行邊度咧
？When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
我要揾答案。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
呢個版呢塊版，我想做幾好，應該唔錯呢份工。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. and at last he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And when he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too, surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I'm real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
跟住佢話嗰個女人見到我呢個傻佬 覺得安心咗，因為佢自己係一個正常，佢正常人，佢開心自己係正常嘅。跟住然之後，佢突然間有個會要開，所以就走咗，離開有我呢個我有個屍體。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
係已經較細咗少少。O 唔 OK 啊？我會改變咧，如果我揾晒所有有呢啲嘢嘅電腦。跟住暫時嗰個除咗跟住佢叫我去嘅地方之外，好似都會死喎結局。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
呢個應該行晒啦，係咪啊？呢邊嗰條路。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
開其他門先，啱啱嗰度門開。我係咪應該記一記，即係邊啲人已經辭咗職或者係俾老闆炒咗嗰啲，記一記佢哋嘅房 number 咧。
It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
佢呢個啱啱我行咗，跟住然之後就係發現我個老婆係假噶嘛，冇噶啦嘛，呢間房已經玩晒啦嘛。
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
跟住呢度可以一係去呢個係咩嚟嘅咧？呢個係啱啱開會嗰間房係咪啊？係咯，跟住有呢個落去，咁我哋落去 ，Go！ 係我打開唔開啊？打唔開，開唔開？打唔開，因為已經好夜啦呢邊。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
佢蕩失路。聽到歌嚟㗎。
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake.
玩嘢。
No, not the right.
估到你開始玩嘢啦。
Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Look.
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down,
我揾地圖。我睇緊佢竟係咩嚟嘅？
Okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
會俾車撞嘅，行佢開車，好驚啊！冇事，包晒啦。翻嚟呢度喎。
No! This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to... Oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay. From the top.
Restart 喎。 咁我係玩晒啦啲 ending。你呢度有啲嘢未撳咧？但係佢叫我 reset， 但係又唔係 completely 熄咗嗰個遊戲，話要撳翻 begin the game， 好似啱啱過去熄咗成個 game。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
係咪玩完㗎啦？其實你去翻啱啱嗰個電腦。咩好錯？我哋有次序㗎，所以佢個 input 先至開咗一粒。有次序，但佢呢個又冇開咯喎。咁喺白色嗰粒白色嗰個電腦先呢？即係白色 screen 嗰個電腦先。應該有次序係咪？我已經諗唔到，已經可以去邊咯，已經諗唔到。等佢閂咗門啊！咁都係咁多門嘅。
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on.
我改咗啊！我啱啱
the one who
撳
wrote
啲
the
電腦改
story
咗啊！
was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
好多選擇啊，點算啊？突然之間你俾咁多選擇我，有啲唔知點算好喎。我想去呢個喎，你又唔俾我行，會通嘅咧，兩邊通噶，係咪即係要去呢邊呢？佢唔俾我行，又有啲想行，係咯。
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
唔要啊，繼續行啊！我應該揾到啲線索。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Go back, okay. 開始啦！故事應該真係開始啦。
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
我 miss 咗個 story 喎，佢話入唔到呢度門。 miss 咗個 story。
No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
係咪點喎？
Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
開咗門啦，4-5開咗啦，以前我都係開，呢個電腦就係冇開。開咗門，但係我想去呢邊點算啊？啊但係好喺呢度啦，見佢咁好畫咗個嘢呢個人返工打機喎。返工梗係去廁所㗎啦。
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
有必要咩？呢個位，我直接行咪得咯。如果佢呢把聲係 Morgan Freeman 會仲正啦，你試上次07，你撳下先。一路都跟住，但係好似仲有其他路行，好開心啊！啲音樂，係啊 BGM 好正，我想轉咗我個準備。中個 BGM，opening BGM。
cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Budget analysis, personal file. Departmental accounts, consolidation report, annual review, monthly ledgers, corporate imbalance, financial record. Yêu sâu đậm nhẹ. Nick đi. 佢話要記低嘢，但我冇聽佢清楚佢要記低啲咩啊。就算你幫我記低，你哋幫我記低，我咪要記低呢啲嘢咧。Budget analysis, personal files, departmental account, consolidation report, annual review, monthly ledgers, corporate balance, and financial record. 算啦，唔記得㗎啦。你記到幫我記一記，雖然唔知係咪要記呢樣嘢。
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
邊度嚟㗎？佢話我要返咗去原點，但我唔記得我喺邊度門嚟。我蕩失路。我呢個打機房，即係我係呢度門嚟嘅。咁即係我要，跟住呢度門開咗係咪？好似有呢條黃色線嘅，好似嗰套咩啊？嗰套咪有個女仔着住對紅色鞋咁樣，又翻返呢度。有個女仔着住對紅色鞋，跟住要跟住嗰條黃色路，嗰條叫咩啊？我冇腳㗎，冇㗎咯，呢度啲佢返咗個監視房喎。
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
眼瞓㗎，係啊，我唔眼瞓，跌咗風扇。唔知點解隻眼擘唔大。我嘗試擘大。
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Oh, I like the sound of that. 我呢個聲應該可以順。
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
你又玩我？啱先話信你。
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
佢啲位發生，就係一啲嘢都冇解釋到咯，暫時嚟講。
A choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
佢喺度講嘢咧，搞到我諗唔到嘢，因為佢好似係讀緊呢個 Stanley 嘅諗法，跟住同一時間又幫佢諗緊嘢，跟住搞到我自己又諗唔到嘢。其實呢個所以咪洗腦咯，因為我自己而家諗唔到嘢啊嘛。佢慢慢即係搞到你係依賴佢啦，跟住然之後聽佢講有隻 ending， 所以就令到即係搞到我諗唔到嘢，跟住就係咁跟住佢講嘅嘢咯。所以其實已經係被洗腦咯，係咪啊？Confusion ending 係我真係好 confused 咯。
Hold up, what's this? The confusion ending.
You're
telling me
呢個 confusion ending 玩咗17分
It's all
鐘，
one
係
giant
冇結
ending.
果。
And we're supposed to restart the game eight times?
寫低晒我做嗰啲咩
That's
喎？
really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule,
好似啱啱冇
I
記
restart
佢
again.
叫我
Then
記
what?
嗰啲嘢啫。
Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My
After
mind
a
goes
long time,
blank
Stanley,
simply
that
because it's written
the
here on
narrator
this
is gone, Chloe.
thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule?
我哋應該係第4次 reset， 而家係。
Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime,
會乜都冇，係跟住之後應該佢會唔記得咗有 reset 過，跟住之後第7次 reset， 我唔記得第6次仲應該寫咩，跟住第7次 reset 係，今次 reset 應該係咩都玩唔到，即係正常想玩但係玩唔到，佢話。
What could it mean?
會有嘢阻住
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his
因為佢唔記得咗，所以喺
co-workers.
度重複咗佢之前同我講過嘅嘢。係啊，佢唔記得咗之前講嘅嘢。你根本玩呢個就已經係一個洗腦。係咪有啲咩深奧嘅意思？有啲咩故事？
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
佢話我跟住玩呢個 game 就會有嘢阻住我，但係暫時好似冇。究竟係發生咩事呢？
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
我而家咪真係跟住佢，即係我之前做過嘅嘢。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
我繼續行嘅，可唔可以又係去返好似第二次玩咁樣，即係離開咗呢個地方？應該點做好呢？應該點做好呢？我都入咗嚟咯。好中意行路聲。我入咗嚟咯喎，但係有咩？
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
我咪唔應該行條路呢？會唔會又要重新再嚟過呢？俾撳嘅，唔俾撳喎。係咯，真係 mind blown。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
唔知個機有幾個 ending 嘅咧？
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
不如行呢度咯。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
佢話會有咩阻止我，但係暫時嚟講都冇嘢阻止到我。不過我先至跟住去玩，但係如果跟住去玩，我就去到嗰個good end。但係如果我死咗嘅話，就真係要重新再嚟過嘅咯。我真係講一次。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Hello, Sahari? 佢 butcher 住你。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
等呢個房號碼係咩咧？應該冇關啊，miss 咗先。冇咩變過，都係要停咗呢個。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
停咗喺第6次 restart 度。
But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
So 4、5，但係1、2又唔喺度。唔係喎，有1、2喎，喺下邊1、2。試下呢個掣先。會唔會有特別次序嘅咧？又跟住呢個0142，但係冇0喎。人聲校細佢。Master volume 同埋 music volume。哦，咦有字幕嘅原來，切。撳晒啦。跟住咧，佢咪整咗條橋，本身喺度㗎呢個。咩冇乜點過。Disable， 咁我咪要開返呢個嘢。我做咩好啊？ 1421啊。聲即係點啊？哦，開咗佢先啊！佢有個第二個 option 係開㗎嘛，一時醒唔起添。
And when at last he found the source of the room's power,
有字幕
he
啦。
knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it... Oh, Stanley, mate, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Oh!
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave.
Woo!
If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is make a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. This is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
係咪有得？係咪有正確答案㗎？我係 miss 咗啲咩啊？英文水平有幾個啊？咁因為我嚟到人類世界之後呢，都已經
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
9年到啦。
No matter how hard
9
Stanley
年10
looked,
年到
he
啦。
couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
啲英文都 OK。喺度啊！原來呢第2個 input 喎，咁即係我可以，我每次玩再揾到呢部電腦就可以加多一個 input。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he
因
entered
為
the
我
door on
係
his left.
負責呢個呢個嘅外交關係啦，咁所以就要學好多唔同嘅語言。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
應該係其實之前就講過係我可能英文嘅表達能力其實係
Wow, yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
loop 度呢，應該行呢邊咁佢已經冇地方行。我啱啱係點樣去？我啱啱點去入嗰個 loop 㗎？
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
會唔會有啲答案呢？啊 What do people want？ 跟住然之後有人呢個 Mike James 寫咗 happiness， 跟住就俾人炒咗啦。有冇啲咩答案？好氣啊！RIP 呢個4樓得落。佢係咪仲喺個 loop 度咧？定係已經係冇晒？
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
好似冇晒嘢喎，佢已經睇晒喎啲嘢。呢個一落到嚟就係發夢啊嘛話。 我去一去嗰個 escape 先，仲未去嗰度。又係唔記得咗個密碼。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
我有歌聽啦又。
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
.我個咪其實已經係開到最大。已經開到最大咯，把聲開埋嗰個 compressor，再細聲啲，個 game 再細聲啲。What's your flame？ 最大聲嗰度。咁應該係我講嘢細聲。你講嘢大聲。我再講嘢大聲少少。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
後邊嗰啲。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut.
個人聲會唔會好啲啊？
Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
唔係，即係個遊戲嘅 game 會唔會好啲啊？audio output 再較低啲。我驚太低。
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted
咁樣 O 唔
effort to
OK 啊？
walk forward
會唔會好
and
啲啊？
willingly confront his death.
所以而家暫時知道嘅嘢就係咧，呢個講緊嘢嗰個人就係控制成個 game 嘅，但係咧佢又唔係話最話得事嗰個，因為佢嗰個confusion ending 嗰個 schedule 寫住咧，佢會忘記晒所有嘢，跟住然之後消失，所以應該有啲嘢係控制緊佢，或者係勁過佢嘅。
narrator as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous
Maybe a
metal
loose end.
jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
啊，誒，唔係死咗啦咩？佢話我死咗嘅。哦，佢係咪呃個女人係咪呃嗰個？唔係喎，呢個 ending screen 嚟嘅喎。
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
所以喺 office 玩嗰啲遊戲。梗係呢個嗰把聲嘅上司，因為佢喺度話緊佢
When every path you can
做
walk
得唔
has
好。
been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
呢個好 Monster Inc 㗎呢個位。啊，展覽嚟喎。睇寫咩咧？冇乜嘢，冇意思。會唔會揾到啲線索咧？Office，所以應該一開始喺嗰邊啦。我唔係喎，一開始呢度行入去喎。啱啱我呢個啲掣係咪會揾到答案呢？喺呢度。我部電腦仲大過機部電腦幾勁。唔怪之咁叻啦，因為用緊呢部電腦。Office computer，呢個我識過。撳掣掣喺邊？好似嗰啲博物館咁，有得互動嗰啲博物館咁。咁係咪外面嘅世界？Wage war against the narrator. Party joking on the nose and ton of game. 幾搞笑呢個，佢話會有個 ending 咧，就係咧我哋會鬥同呢個同嗰把聲鬥，就有呢個喺呢個地方，但係已經冇。佢本身設計係有呢個 ending，但係而家冇，因為佢話驚啲人話佢哋笑，鍾意玩 shooter game 嗰啲人。但佢係打外星人喎，打完外星人就唔知點解打嗰個，哦，即係嗰把聲原本係外星人控制。我好中意佢咁樣，即係解釋所有嘅，即係製作嗰陣時諗過嘅嘢，佢個 thought process。 咁而家做乜？佢一開始咧，咪俾一個假老婆嘅，佢咪有間房聽電話嘅。佢話之前個 version 咧，如果你15秒之內冇聽電話咧，會有第二個 ending。咁但係即係而家會唔會？如果我唔聽翻去唔聽電話，會唔會有第二個 ending？One option。我成個 blueprint。10 confusion ending。Other entrance would be hidden depending on how you enter。好，咁我係咪可以試多好多嘢喎？係咪應該要去翻嗰個10 confusion ending 咧？即係佢嗰個 restart 嗰個咧，好似仲有啲嘢未玩過。可以而家去咗一個 field trip 咁樣，喺度睇博物館。Yeah, I know. I accidentally messed with the encoder before I started the game, so it's kind of laggy. It was okay when I tested it. What made you do that? It's kind of like on and off with the lagging.點解有冇出口㗎呢個？Freedom ending 呢個就我個 ending。你走得㗎啦。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
哦。呢個就係。咁所以係邊個係 in control 咧？
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other.
佢叫我撳 escape 跟住 quit。但係因為關係。
As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now.
OK， 我咪要停啊！我咪應該停啊！我係咪應該聽佢講嘢？我一直都聽緊佢講嘢。點算咧？但我停咗佢會唔會又要我重新開始？但係佢係定係佢係一個已經設計咗係咁樣呢？ 好多問題啊！我哋可以玩一個 drinking game。我每次問一次問題，你就 take a shot。
Only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let.
我去。會呃我㗎？我應該點做？去啊！真係完咗，呃我真係呃我。如果真係完咗，咁我哋今日就完，今日就完啦。你真係重新嚟過咯。
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
係啊，因為個 logo 係驚你哋暈，好似已經可以重新嚟過咯喎。但佢唔出聲喎。因為呢次係第7次 restart 啊。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
嗰把聲攞咗攰。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
我哋去試下唔聽電話，跟住如果冇乜進展，咁我哋留返下次。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to
係咪
his
行錯
boss's
咗啊？嗰
office.
個係啊，行錯咗啊！嗰位唔係咁去嘅，應該係行第二道門。做多次 reset。跟住我哋如果仲係一樣嘅，我哋留返下次玩，因為今次我多手撳錯掣，搞到好叻。
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue.
我返返去一開始嗰個位，跟住俾佢呃咗，話要 quit， 其實我應該唔好 quit。
Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy
有啲進
after
展。
all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared.
Oh?
It was so much fun,
啱啱有呢個嘅
and
咩？
Stanley marveled that he had still not woken
啱啱
up.
好似冇呢個星
How
星喎，
was
有
he
冇？
remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts.
呢個好玩好
And
耐
while he
啊！
thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's
要
ever
瞓
been
覺啦，
in
跟
his
住
life.
就重新
Now,
開始，
hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley.
咁咪快
After
重
all,
新開
he
始。
knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be
哇
over.
好舒服啊！佢講
Let
嘢
me
把
go
聲
back to
呢
my
一 part，
job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life
我想
exactly
去
the
喺我
way
瞓
it's
覺之前
always
講個
been.
故事俾我聽啊！
My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just
求救
someone
第
tell
一
me
句係
I'm
講
real.
I have
must
a
be real.
boss。
I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
求救係講 I have a boss, I have an office。講重點啊！
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
我跟住死咗咩佢？
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed,
我
gathered
好
her
似
belongings.
都係一樣。咁我哋今日就完喎，下次冇咁叻嘅時候，我哋去翻嗰個10 conversion ending，跟住係咯，完成呢個 gameplay 啦。跟住有套，等下我轉翻個 screen 先。はい、お疲れ。皆さんお疲れ。唔知點解最後又變咗廣東話啦，全程用咗廣東話啦。跟住，唉，教錯 setting 搞到又叻咗啦，傷心。お疲れお疲れお疲れ。呢個感覺都可以玩好耐，唔知你有冇興趣睇真正嘅 ending 啦？但如果冇咧，我都會繼續玩噶啦。 下一個直播就係睇先，我嘅星期六啦，香港嘅星期日啦。睇先，我睇下個 schedule 先。係啦，就係我嘅1點啦，同一個時間啦。跟住然之後香港嘅星期日都係呢個時間2點。係啦，跟住我就係而家準備緊圖啦，慶祝呢個Twitter 嘅200 follower 啦。係啦，跟住而家 YouTube 有幾多？88個啦，都好快。多謝大家。啲歌仲係 mix 緊啦，因為我啲mixer 有啲忙啊近排，同埋有一首係未錄噶咯，因為要錄廣告先，跟住錄完啲廣告就應該會錄噶啦，跟住我又錄緊，其實又錄緊第2首歌啦，所以等到啲 mixer 得閒嘅時候呢，應該會好快出3首歌。啲畫已經準備好噶啦，MV 用嘅畫。係咁啦，今日就多謝大家陪我玩咗咁耐啦，啲畫質咁樣都陪我玩咁耐。下次玩呢個Henry Sigmund 應該唔會出事噶啦，唔好立 flag。係啊，我哋下次見，下次可能會玩遊戲加唱歌，未決定好噶，唱歌嗰分未決定好噶，不過係咯，因為今次啲聲冇咁冇咁窒啦，冇話有一時有一時冇咁樣咯，好似上次咁，慢慢進步，努力緊，係啦，多謝大家嚟。